Hello everyone, welcome to my Disciplinary Literacy Project, and for this project, the professional that I decided to interview is named Paul Sitaris, and he is a senior accounting consultant at a consulting firm called Cross Country Consulting, which is located in Tysons Corner, Virginia. So a couple of the things that Paul Sitaris does on a daily basis is he analyzes financial documentation and provides recommendations on how to improve profitability within the company. He also produces and files financial reports and tax paperwork, and also conducts tax research independently and collaboratively. So some of the physical texts he uses on a daily basis, or he comes across on a daily basis, are bank statements, leases and contracts, and payroll reports. And for the most part, most recently, Paul has been working a lot with leases and finding the values of leases. So that is what he's been focusing on primarily, but he does come across bank statements and payroll reports. So for question 1, how is literacy conceptualized within your discipline? Paul Sitaris began by explaining that the majority of literacy utilized in his field is numbers-based, and this is due to the fact that accountants and accounting consultants are constantly deriving formulas and performing calculations in order to produce important values for their company. Outside of the mathematical realm, though, there are a couple different ideas that involve literacy within accounting. So for example, in a lease, certain legal language can affect how Paul records the amounts within that particular lease. There are also things called fact patterns that he has to read and comprehend in order to know exactly how to record a transaction. So here's an example of an arbitrary fact pattern, and this is something that Paul would not explicitly be given, but would rather have to find by himself in order to, again, know exactly how to record a particular transaction. So for the second question, are there certain skills that are necessary to be literate in your discipline that may differ from traditional definitions of literacy? Paul Sitaris was explaining that accounting language is very nuanced and very distinct. He was explaining that it's important for accountants and accounting consultants to be familiar with the variety of accounting vocabulary, not only in order to work more efficiently independently, but more efficiently collaboratively. If they are fluent in this vocabulary, then they are able to have those collaborative conversations, which in turn create a more efficient work environment. He also explained how, their discipline is very formula-driven, so to be considered literate, they also have to be fluent in Microsoft Excel, which is a data management software. So in Excel, accountants and accounting consultants should be able to read, interpret, and create Excel formulas to calculate different ideas. So for question number 3, are there literacy skills that entry-level members of this field must learn anew? Paul Sitaris went more in depth with the necessary knowledge needed in terms of Microsoft Excel. He explained that new accountants and new accounting consultants should be familiar with basic Excel functions. These functions include aggregate, round, VLOOKUP, if, and trim. And each of these Excel functions does something different in a particular Excel file. Using this file as an example, we see that the function VLOOKUP was utilized. This function helps accountants look for specified values by searching for them vertically across an Excel sheet. So essentially, these Excel functions produce particular values and perform particular calculations in a more time-efficient manner. Not only this, but entry-level members of this field must also apply their Excel knowledge to real-world problems. 2 of these real-world problems include calculating the net present value of cash flows and calculating the fair value of investments. Net present value is used to calculate the current value of a future stream of payments from a company, project, or investment. Fair value of investments refers to the sale price agreed upon by a willing buyer and seller. Finally, Paul Sitaris again talked about knowing the accounting vernacular. So again, being familiar with a vast variety of accounting language. So some of these basic accounting terms include cash flow, marginal cost, and income statements. For the final question, how can schools improve their efforts to equip students with the essential literacies of this field? Paul had some pretty interesting things to say.
Really good question, and it's something that I remember when I was in my master's program. We also that is a good question because a lot of what we were learning about was how to modernize like education for accounting, right? I mean, because I think the predefined notion that like accounting is just tax related, are very like mundane, but um, this day and age, I think it's really evolving and it's being like way more tech driven and data driven. Like, we use big data as like a popular phrase that they're throwing around these days in the business world. So, like, just modernizing and keeping up with the technology. Like, nowadays, there's so many different softwares that like we can use to analyze data.
All right, guys, so that's the end of the presentation. Thanks for listening, and have a great rest of your day.